Ma'am, you need to move. The seat is taken. What? This is my assigned seat!
What's going on here?
The cabin was almost full when the final passengers boarded. People were settling into their seats, adjusting their bags, and preparing for takeoff. But in the first few rows, a quiet tension was already building. A well-dressed black woman stepped into the aisle, checking her boarding pass. She smiled politely at the man sitting in her assigned seat. "Excuse me, I think that's my seat," she said calmly. Before the man could respond, a flight attendant rushed over. "Ma'am, you can't sit here," she said, her voice sharp and impatient. The woman blinked in confusion. "I'm sorry, this is my seat. Row 2, seat A." The attendant shook her head. "This seat has already been given to him. You'll need to move to the back." Passengers nearby began to look up from their phones. The woman stayed calm. "I paid for this seat. Here's my boarding pass." The flight attendant barely glanced at it. "Ma'am, you're holding up boarding. Please move." The man in the seat avoided eye contact. A few passengers exchanged uneasy looks. One person quietly started recording. The woman took a deep breath. "I'm not trying to cause trouble. I just want the seat I paid for." The attendant crossed her arms. "If you don't move, we'll have to call security." The words echoed through the cabin. Conversation stopped. A man across the aisle whispered, "This isn't right." Just then, another flight attendant approached, looking concerned. She leaned in and quietly asked, "What's going on here?" Before the first attendant could answer, the seated man spoke up. "I was told this was my seat after an upgrade." The second attendant frowned. "Let me see your boarding pass." He handed it over. Her expression changed instantly. She looked back at the woman standing in the aisle. "Ma'am, you're correct. This is your seat." The first attendant's face went pale. "Wait, what?" "The system shows this seat was never reassigned," the second attendant said firmly. "She has priority." A ripple of murmurs spread through the cabin. Phones were now fully raised. Passengers were watching closely. The man slowly stood up. I didn't know," he muttered, stepping into the aisle. The woman nodded politely. "Thank you." But the tension didn't fade. A passenger from the back called out, "So you were just going to move her for no reason?" Another voice followed, "That's messed up." The first attendant looked overwhelmed. The second attendant turned to the woman. "Ma'am, I sincerely apologize. Please take your seat, and we'd like to offer you a complimentary upgrade and travel credit for the inconvenience." The woman paused, then nodded. "I appreciate that." As she sat down, the cabin filled with quiet applause. Not loud or dramatic, but enough to be heard. The first attendant stepped back, clearly shaken. Within minutes, the captain's voice came over the intercom, apologizing for the delay and promising a review of the incident. But the phones were still out, and the video was already spreading. By the time the plane touched down, millions had seen what happened in that cabin, and the airline was already facing questions it couldn't ignore.